The Venom symbiote's movement in Peter's room was created using real liquid simulations instead of traditional CGI animation. The VFX team studied oil and tar dripping to make its motion feel organic and unsettling. In the crane rescue scene, Bryce Dallas Howard did her own stunts, despite being unknowingly pregnant. The moment also references the 1973 comic, where Spider-Man fails to save Gwen. Unlike the tragic comic version, here he slingshots himself toward her, ensuring a heroic rescue. The festival attack scene was filmed partly in Los Angeles with additional action-heavy city street footage shot in Cleveland. This is a true and interesting fact, as Cleveland was used for high-speed sequences due to logistical advantages. The large festival crowd was a mix of real extras and digital duplicates, added in post-production to create the illusion of a massive event. During Sandman's initial transformation in the scene, a mix of practical effects and CGI was used. In some shots, the crew used air cannons to blast real sand into the air, which was later enhanced digitally to make Sandman's shifting form look more fluid and organic. This is a fun fact, as the real sand added weight and texture, making the CGI integration more seamless. The visual effects team experimented with 12 different types of sand to study how particles reacted when splashed, thrown at stunt performers, or poured down surfaces. This is a weird but true fact, as the team needed to simulate how Sandman's body would behave under different conditions, ensuring CGI accuracy. The fight between Spider-Man and Sandman was carefully choreographed using wire stunts, but Spider-Man's aerial launch was fully CGI. This is a true and interesting fact, as Tobey Maguire performed many of his own movements, while stunt doubles handled high-impact moments. The large sand waves crashing into the festival stage were created using a mix of real dust effects and CGI particles. The team tested various materials to mimic how sand moves at high speeds through city streets. This is an interesting behind-the-scenes fact, as they even considered using crushed walnut shells for a more natural, dust-like effect. A deleted moment from this scene featured a longer shot of Sandman grabbing a police car and throwing it aside. This was cut for pacing reasons, but pre-visualization footage still exists. This is a fun fact, as the CGI work had already been started before the decision was made to remove the scene. The scene where Peter bonds with the Venom symbiote while sleeping is one of Spider-Man 3's most iconic moments, blending CGI mastery, horror elements, and comic accuracy. CGI and practical effects. The symbiote's movement was created using custom animation tools to make it slither realistically. Real slime was also blasted with air cannons for practical shots. Comic and cinematic influences. The scene mirrors Spider-Man comics in the 1994 animated series, where Peter bonds with the symbiote in his sleep and wakes up hanging from a skyscraper. Horror inspiration. Director Sam Raimi added a horror tone with eerie silence and the goo creeping slowly. A scrapped idea had Peter seeing a monstrous Venom reflection in the mirror. Music and sound design. The black suit theme by Christopher Young enhances the scene, while whispery sound effects and suction noises make the symbiote feel alive. Fun trivia. The black suit was originally different, with a larger white spider emblem, and animatronic Venom heads were tested before settling on the final design. This transformation scene remains a perfect mix of visual effects, suspenseful storytelling, and comic book homage. The symbiote twitches unnaturally in Connor's lab, with CGI-enhanced fluid physics, ensuring it felt truly alien. As Peter dons the black suit, the scene emphasizes his shift in personality. The lighting is darker, and his body language is more rigid and determined, signaling the symbiote's growing influence. Sam Raimi wanted this moment to feel like a transformation, not just visually, but psychologically, as Peter is now fully embracing his aggression. During the intense subway battle, Thomas Hayden Church punched a set piece so hard that he broke 3 of his knuckles. He didn't realize it at first and kept filming despite the pain. Church later admitted that he wanted Sandman to feel raw and brutal, so he threw full-force punches at what he thought was a soft prop. Turns out it was real brick. He later joked that this was his true transformation into Sandman, getting beaten up but refusing to stay down. One of the most intimidating sounds in the subway battle is Sandman's deep, guttural roars as he takes hits from Spider-Man. But here's the cool part, those weren't human sounds at all. The sound designers blended Thomas Hayden Church's voice with recordings of a lion's growl to give Sandman an inhuman, monstrous presence. They specifically chose a lion because its growl carries a low-frequency rumble that can be felt as much as heard, making Sandman seem like a force of nature rather than just a man made of sand. If you listen closely, his roar doesn't sound like a normal scream. It vibrates, almost like sand shifting under pressure. When Spider-Man unleashes a flood of water to defeat Sandman, that wasn't just CGI magic, it was a massive real-life stunt. The crew dumped 50,000 gallons of water through a giant pipe, and the impact was so strong that it literally destroyed part of the set. A safety barrier protecting a camera operator was even blown away by the force of the water. The team had to rebuild parts of the set before continuing filming. The fight between Peter and Harry in Spider-Man 3 is one of the most intense in the trilogy. James Franco was knocked out during filming after hitting his head too hard in a stunt. The pumpkin bomb explosion was so strong it triggered the studio's fire sprinklers, forcing the crew to act fast. Sam Raimi wanted the fight to feel raw and brutal, with Peter aggressively smashing Harry into walls and throwing his own bomb back at him. The "gonna cry" line was a psychological attack, echoing how Norman Osborn belittled Harry. This scene was meant to show Peter's darkest moment, but it became an iconic meme, with Bully Maguire edits taking over the internet. The bell tower scene in Spider-Man 3 is one of the most intense in the trilogy. Tobey Maguire's pain while tearing off the symbiote wasn't just acting. The tight harness made his struggle feel real. Raimi wanted raw emotion, so they kept filming despite his discomfort, adding to the authenticity of the moment. Below, Eddie Brock prays for Peter's death, a line the studio almost cut for making him too villainous too soon. Raimi insisted on keeping it to show Eddie was already corrupted before bonding with the symbiote. Instead of creating a monster, the symbiote simply empowered him. Topher Grace struggled with the Venom suit, which was covered in sticky goo and had fangs that bruised his gums. It was so tight he avoided drinking water to prevent removing it. Despite the discomfort, the transformation scene remains one of the film's most memorable. The sequence is a direct adaptation of Web of Spider-Man #1 and The Amazing Spider-Man #300, merging Peter's redemption with Eddie's downfall. Originally, the symbiote was going to form a monstrous face before attacking Eddie, but this was cut. Raimi framed the scene like an exorcism, with the church bells acting as a force cleansing Peter. Early drafts had Venom returning to use the church as his lair, but this was removed. Still, the gothic horror elements make this one of the most striking moments in Spider-Man 3.